Hello everyone, welcome to your 27th Grasshopper tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to talk about the field spin and how to create field spins in general in Grasshopper. Now this is going to be the fourth part of the vectors series I'm trying to make. So anyway, this is what we're trying to create. We have 3 points and these points have like fields surrounding it, and then these fields are just getting affected by the other fields that are surrounding it. Now imagine when you have like a water ripple, like if you have a water drop that falls into a water surface, and then you have these circle waves that are going around it. I want you to imagine the vectors, the field spin, something like that. So you have this water and there's like surrounding it. Well, but technically in nature, the water what is this? The water ripples, they don't affect each other, they don't push and pull each other when they touch, they just overlap. In here it doesn't. It's more like a magnet kind of thing, like if you have a circular field and it kind of merges and it pushes and pulls like other fields surrounding it. Anyway, it's like a lot of talking, no doing. Let's start. Anyway, let's start with creating a surface. I need like a bunch of points on the surface. So set one curve, and then we're gonna do the boundary. Connect it to have a surface. Now make sure that when you're doing a boundary that your curve is in 2D and it's flat, because if it's like a 3D or there's like more than, it's like on a Z-axis or something, or it's not planar, you won't be able to create a boundary around it. The next thing you're going to do is populate geometry, and if you do the populate 2D it won't work. You actually need the populate geometry for this one, and we're just going to keep all the numbers as they are. If you want to change it, it's fine, you can just change the number or just change the seed and it's okay. The next thing we're going to do is create the 3 points that we needed to be our the main points which are going to affect the field spin. So set 1 point for the first one, set 1 point to the second one, and set 1 point to the third one. Okay, so these are the points we have. Let me just double check on the locations of these points. Okay, the next thing you want to do is get the closest point definition. So closest point, not points but point, and then connect it, and the points will be this one. Okay, make sure to flatten your geometry, but it's okay if you don't. You'll have the same result, but it's better to flatten it to make all of it in one list. The next thing you want to do is get the field spin. So the field spin is this one, is the spin force. So we're going to take a field spin for each of the points. So here are the points, and connect all the points to the field spin. Now you can see that each point we have has its own field spin around it. The next thing you want to do is you can control the strength and the radius of the field spin. So we'll just get in a number slider, 20.00. I'm just going to copy it and insert it to our field spin. So as you can see, I'm already controlling the radius of the field spin. Let's just enter for each. Okay, the next thing you want to do is just merge your fields. So merge fields. And then you need to get your line field or field line. And then the points you have here is actually the points you created in the populate geometry. And the fields are the one we created with our field spin. So see, pretty easy. We already have our own field spinning around and then just like affecting all the other fields around it. So what we're going to do is just hide this one so we can see only the field themselves, or the field line themselves. Now, if we want to control like how long is these lines, we can actually use the distance that we created from the closest point. Now if you just connect it, you're gonna see that we're gonna have these really tiny lines that are not useful at all, like we can't see anything. And the thing is, from last time, remember the default was 1000 for the number of steps, so I can have to like get a multiplication and get the distance desired. So like if you hover, you can see the distance are like 23, 19, 4, 24. You need a higher number, so let's type in 50 and then connect it, and then connect it to the number. And you can see now that we can control how long is the field spin, or the field lines themselves. So this is pretty much it for the field line. You can see that you can control your points in general. Now I think I lifted it to the Z axis, so I need to just push it. What happened? I ruined everything. Okay, so set on curve. Okay. Okay, what did I push? So you have to make sure that your points are actually, because we inserted the populate geometry into the field lines, so you have to make sure it's within the range of the geometry you created. So this is pretty much fun. I mean, you can do so many things with these curves. If you go to the field line, you can see that you can like move it and make your own shapes. I mean, you can do so many things with these curves. You can like play with the heights of these curves and create your own like step design or something like that. And yeah, I mean, the good thing with field lines is it's a curve and you don't have to like change it into lines or anything. And this is pretty much it for the field lines. It's pretty easy. I mean, I know I said at the beginning it's a bit complicated to understand vectors. I mean, at the beginning it's hard because you don't, it's just a different way of thinking how these lines work. Like, they affect each other. There's no value to it. It's more like it has a strength, you know, like it's affecting whatever is around it. So as a beginning, like when you first started as a concept, you just don't grasp it as much as when you start doing like more examples. You're like, I see what vectors do in general. It's not like it has its own value, but more like it affects the geometry around it and you can manipulate it. So this is the last one I think I'm gonna do for the vectors. I'm not sure, but it's most probably the last one. What I want to do next, I mean, as a beginner, I think we're done with almost a lot of things when it comes to Grasshopper. The next thing I want to do is either I'm gonna, like if you look at my tabs, I have a lot of plugins. And plugins are just like these things you put into Grasshopper to make your definitions easier to create. Like some people do like definitions you use all the time, they're just gonna make it into a component and then do your own component. And then like you can just plug in their component and then use it. And it just makes everything faster and easier in Grasshopper. But you really have to know the basics before you jump into plugins. So as long as you get the grasp of the basics and you know how to use them, you'll be fine for the next like to learn new plugins. But as a beginner, I think we covered a lot of things, I hope, when it comes to Grasshopper beginners. I'm thinking either I'll do the plugins or do an advanced one where we're like working for an hour or like an hour and a half on one definition, which we never did. And I think it's important to do that. You can either like use other people's tutorials where you can like follow along really long tutorials. And so yeah, it's either I do this with the 1 hour or I do the like explain more plugins in Grasshopper. I'm not sure yet which direction I want to head. But yeah, when it comes to the beginner, I think I'm done. I don't have anything else to say when it comes to the beginners like Grasshopper stuff. If you have any question, please send it in my email. My email is in the description. If you put it in the comments, it might take a while. The thing is with the comments, annoyingly sensitive sometimes. I mean, I see a comment, I don't like it, and I just get discouraged, which is a really bad habit. I mean, I am not supposed to care about what other people, I mean, sometimes they do have a point, but I don't know. Anyway, so if the comment is something you can wait for an answer, just put it in the comments. I will eventually see it, I promise. But if it's something really urgent, I would really suggest putting it in an email. And then from the email, if it's something easy, I can just like answer it really fast. If it's something I think that needs a tutorial, I'm gonna put it in the channel questions section, which I have, and make maybe like a small video about it. But I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so maybe the next time we're gonna do the plugins, or we're gonna do a very large definition where it takes a long time. I would really recommend watching other tutorials and following along with the really big ones, which take like an hour and a half, and just like follow along what they're doing and see how they're doing it and stuff like that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you learned as much as you could when it comes to Grasshopper. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and whatever, and leave nice comments, please. Please, I'm begging for nice comments basically at this point. And yeah, so anyway, this is pretty much it for the Grasshopper beginners. I don't know what's next, I'm not sure, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next tutorial.